Writer-director Bob Byington made a splash on the festival circuit with 2012's Somebody Up There Likes Me, and the momentum just continues with Seven Chinese Brothers, starring Jason Schwartzman and Olympia Dukakis. In addition to dabbling in acting, Byington's previous films as writer-director include Shameless, Olympia, RSO, which is short for Registered Sex Offender, Harmony and Me, and Tuna. Byington's star du jour, Jason Schwartzman, made an indelible film debut with Wes Anderson's Rushmore in 1998, and since then has appeared in over 23 films, including Listen Up Philip, Big Eyes, Saving Mr. Banks, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Funny People, Shop Girl, I Heart Huckabees, Spun, in addition to Wes Anderson's The Darjeeling Limited, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, and The Grand Budapest Hotel, as well as headlining the TV series Bored to Death, Cracking Up, and the upcoming Wet Hot American Summer First Day of Camp. Byington and Schwartzman hit the couch at the San Francisco International Film Festival VIP Lounge recently to tell Celluloid Dreams film critic and correspondent Peter Canavese all about Seven Chinese Brothers and ponder how to promote it.
So, is Larry an alcoholic because nothing ever goes his way, or does nothing ever go his way because he's an alcoholic?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. Is Larry an alcoholic because nothing ever goes his way, or is he...
Does nothing go his way because he's an alcoholic?
Yeah. I think that's a great, we've tried to do synopses and taglines and things, and I think that should just be the thing that you read in the caption under the movie, a rhetorical synopsis.
For free PR services, just go ahead and take that and run with it.
Yeah.
Where was that question?
Yeah, that's a great rhetorical caption for our movie. So, thank you.
It's part of the kick to the humor is that he's this sort of born loser, I guess, right? That I don't want to give anything away, but things just don't seem to go his way.
Yeah.
Could you talk about where this character came from in the writing and then in the development of the performance? Was he at all inspired by friends or acquaintances of either of you? Or
Well, I have this bit I've been auditioning lately where if you go, you look around the room and you can't spot the alcoholic, then, it's a bit I'm working on still.
Yes, he's pointing to himself, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
a little bit. I think we all know one, or there's just culturally, it just does. It seems like there's something culturally where we're familiar with this type of person, and if and there's a chance that we're inhabiting this role. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that this kind of guy is a fog type of alcoholism, less slurring, belligerent, sick. This is like a more of a
Ray Milan.
Yeah. This guy's a bit more slow burning, and I think that this is the kind of thing that you can have a period in your life or whatever it is where you look back and you go, gosh, I was in a stasis then. I didn't do anything. There's no movement. And I think Larry's in that zone. But he wouldn't think that if that was everyone leaving the room during my answer.
You would never play a loser, quote unquote, either. I don't think you would agree to play a loser, right? You wouldn't phrase that. You wouldn't phrase it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That way.
No, I think.
Determined.
No, I think he doesn't think he's a loser. Perhaps.
No one does.
No.
yeah, that was a little judgy of me.
No, it wasn't.
No, anyway, so
You can be judgy.
Larry works at a Quick Lube in the film, secondarily after Buca di Beppo, and of course one of the best jokes of the movie is that his uniform barely changes, just the patch changes. Is that something that was written into the script, that it would be that place, or is it something, one of those expediency things where that location becomes available to you, saying, I'm going to write around that?
Is like expedience? Is that a play on Quick Lube? Is that the expediency, is that meant to be a?
I think you got it.
No, no. We selected both an Italian restaurant that served the type of fare that Buca di Beppo serves. That was selected in the script. And then a place that would change the oil in your car quickly was also scripted. And then we sought those places.
What's it like to shoot in a place like that? And,
which one?
Well, the second one. Look at the Quick Lube.
It was great. They were super accommodating to us, and the guy who ran the place had a type of open-mindedness about theft that was refreshing to me.
What do you say about it?
He acknowledged that this type of thing might go on at a place like that, and it was just very open about wanting to host us.
I loved it. I've never gotten to go down below, and looked up into a car and watch them change oil, and I love that. And but I really liked being in the Buca di Beppo because it's a family-style Italian restaurant, and there's just so much pasta that has to be made, and I've never seen like hardware like this in my life. Like cannibal, like a cartoon of like cannibals, like a bowl big enough to like cook humans in. That's like how big some of these pasta things are. I've never seen anything like it. And I love just like seeing what it takes to cook that much food is interesting to me. And they were open. Like we would go there before they were officially open to the public and be shooting. At a certain point, the place did become, full of patrons, but we would be there shooting and they would be cooking pasta. Like the scenes where I'm walking through saying, hey, everyone has it. Like for the most part, they're preparing meals and it was fun.
When you told that guy you got fired, that was an improvised kind of moment. They were just working and Jason walked by to tell this guy you got fired.
So actors have this itinerant nature to their careers, this kind of wanderlust thing. I wonder, when you're talking about these places where you're shooting, do you ever look around and just want to run away from home? And has there ever been a part you've played where you just think like, maybe this would be a better life? Yeah.
Just the place, you mean? Or
obviously not Buca di Beppo, but
well, I always do seem to return to Los Angeles. That's where I'm like born and raised, and there's just something about that area that is my home. But I've been to so many. Yeah, I think it's a little like a movie set is not a very. It can be a great place, and it can be very unreal. You know what I mean? Like it's not a real type of place. Everyone's like, it's nice. There's so much structure. It's like someone saying, we need you at this time, and this has to happen, and this has to happen. It's great. You don't have to worry, about that. That's already taken care of. That's nice. Having a structure, it can be nice for a certain type of person. But when I worked in India, that was really, that was like the kind of experience where I was thinking, it's just amazing that I get to do this.
On the Darjeeling Limited.
Just that I'm here on this train and we're going through the real deserts of India and shooting this movie, and that's like I feel very lucky to have experienced that.
So we're talking with actor Jason Schwartzman and director Bob Byington about their film Seven Chinese Brothers. One of the things you mentioned structure just a minute ago, and I was thinking about the structure of this movie.
Yes.
Obviously there's a strong narrative there, but there's also what appears to be, maybe it's just the brilliance of your acting, but improvisation.
I don't know what you're going to ask, but most likely the answer is yes.
It's the cliched question, but to what degree was there improvisation going on on a scene by scene basis?
Well, I would say a lot of the movie is scripted. It's what we read, but then some of it, there's like two things that kind of changed when we started shooting. One is that Larry does these sort of like bits, I would call them, for lack of a better term, where he's pretending to be a fat person getting out of a pool, as he calls it. And just these like little things that he does or voices that he does. And some of those were modular in that we would be shooting a scene in a location, then Bob would say, let's try that bit here. and we just kind of try it. You know, I'm sure maybe if you saw the dailies, you have to ask Bob, but you'd see certain scenes or lines being repeated in different places to find a kind of home.
Yeah, and there's one that's left in the film, right? When he's in the nursing home and says it makes him seem like kind of
yeah. No, he did. Yeah, no, that's the other thing too. Is you were drinking is a lot of repetition.
Yeah, right.
So that was sort of like that, and then so I'd say that was kind of like not improvised, but there's an improvisational quality to things being tried in different places, and then also just there's when you're working with an animal, especially one as untrained as this one. An amateur animal like this.
A Star is Born, by the way.
A Star is Born. But yeah, this kind of a performance with a dog like that, you're sort of working off whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So that the very nature of it is you have to be open to shooting the scene wherever he decides to sleep.
Yeah, right.
In other words, I guess essentially.
Well, photographing Arrow is important, and how you photograph him is. I remember wanting to look at him, to be down with him, and look at him, and then it seemed weird to look at him from Larry's point of view to me, and I don't really know why that is, but we don't. I don't think we used more than maybe one or two shots. Yeah, to me, it always seemed like I definitely knew what lens I wanted to be on, and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of director, but I definitely knew how I wanted to photograph Arrow, and why.
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, like when we would do these scenes, what I mean by like improvising physically is, Arrow will come into a room and he is really lethargic, and does seem to have like a problem staying awake. And if you walk into a room with him, he'll look around, he's alert, and then he's asleep. And we would walk into, like, a lot of the scenes take place in Larry's apartment. We would go in there, Bob and I would discuss the scene. Arrow would be walking around saying good morning, it seemed like, to a lot of the people on the crew, and then he would find a spot in the room and lay down, and then Bob would say, okay, that's where the scene's going to take place, it's going to be over here by this window. And you just sort of figure out how to take what's scripted and transpose it to now he's sleeping here, or now he's sleeping in the hallway. So just kind of being available to that is really, it's a spirit of improvising. Lines weren't necessarily improvised, but the spirit was there to kind of just to react to whatever was given to you. Or in this case, not given to you.
Right. I should make clear, that's your own dog in real life, right?
Yeah, it is.
Co-stars with you in the film.
That's right, yes.
How did that come about?
Oh, well, we were looking for the dog and talking to a lot of the usual suspects of trainers with dogs, and I really liked the German Shepherd and Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I worked with that dog many, many years ago, and that was the type of dog that we were looking for. And I don't remember it as clearly but I just remember talking to Jason, and there was some type of thing where Jason said, you might want to meet Arrow. And Jason was not the type of actor who said, you should really cast my buddy Paul in the movie, he's amazing. Or, I met this girl last night, she should be in the movie. He's just not like that. And so I definitely noticed when he said, hey, you might want to meet Arrow. And then I ended up going over to Jason's house. I met Arrow and wanted him to be in the movie very badly right away. Just tons of charisma. Just tons.
But this was really for you, I assume, about the sweet, sweet animal wrangler money you could tack onto your paycheck.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, I do feel like Bob has said it very eloquently earlier, but sometimes when there's a dog in a movie, you do kind of feel the presence of the animal wrangler. Like the dog's not, like everyone's looking in one direction. The dog is just looking at a treat off camera, most likely. Like that, you can sometimes feel that in a movie. And this type of movie, it was so important that this dog and this person really seem like they're with each other a lot, and care about each other. And a lot of dogs, I know it sounds funny, but like a lot of dogs are really energetic, and you can't get them to stay in one place for very long. Like if we had a German Shepherd in this movie, a lot of these scenes would have to be totally different. They'd mostly be me walking him, not me in my apartment with Arrow talking to him and Arrow's kind of asleep. So it's more like two buddies, kind of, you know. Just like because Arrow was not running off all the time and not looking at a treat someplace else, it did like allow us to sort of like be with each other. I feel like in the movie in an interesting way. He is a unique creature in that regard. He really is just very tired.
So the film is called Seven Chinese Brothers, and it's an REM song, which is on the credits of the film. Some might think it's somewhat of a non sequitur. Why did you choose to call it Seven Chinese Brothers?
Well, it's based on the song, and I discovered yesterday at a screening that I had assumed that everyone had heard that song and knew that REM did that song, and I discovered yesterday a lot of people had never heard the song or knew anything about it. And that was an eye-opener for me in a good way. And so now my answer is much simpler than it used to be. The title is from an REM song.
And you said it comes from, was the song inspire the film in some way or no?
Not really. The novelty to me comes from the fact that it's not a huge song for me. Yeah. And that culturally, I'm positioned to believe REM is a big kind of band, but I had assumed that a lot of people felt the same way, and it turns out not to be true.
So, speaking of music, Jason, you're very musical. You're a Renaissance man, and in the film, you sing a little Beach Boys. Was that
makes the movie sound amazing, by the way?
Yeah, everybody's got to come and see your rendition of "Don't Worry, Baby," and there's a karaoke scene. Do you get at all self-conscious about that sort of thing, or does it come naturally to you to sing in front of an audience or in front of a camera?
No. I'm extremely self-conscious. I'm not like a singer. Like I don't have like Tunde, who's in the movie. He's a real singer. Well, he's what we call a singer's singer. He can truly sing, and there's like a thing where like if there was like, let's say, a campfire and everyone's like singing songs to each other, and everyone's like, Tunde, you got one? He's like, yeah. And then he sings, people would be like crying. And if I did it, they would also be crying, but a different type of crying. And so yeah, I'm not good at doing that. But you know, I've never really had to play like a great singer, so it's okay. You know, he's singing to his dog. That's just sort of off the cuff. And then the karaoke scene, I mean, it wouldn't be good, I guess, if I was like a great. Larry's not supposed to, I guess, because I can couch it in that. But
were you saying to yourself, like, don't sing too good in this? Like, don't sing too good during karaoke? Yeah,
I was. It was hard to. It's hard. It's hard. It's like, you know, you see scenes where they're doing like bad acting in a movie. It was like that. Yeah. You know, like a movie within a movie.
Well, you have to be a good actor to play a bad actor, or a good singer to be a bad singer.
Yeah.
So to wrap up here, I wanted to ask about Michael Moore is on record as saying about your work, Bob, that they're the kind of movies that can only be made if the cast and crew are very comfortable working together. He talked about the kind of community that's created around the picture. What's your approach to cultivating that? And Jason, do you have anything to say about it as well?
Well, I would say Jason's much better at galvanizing that type of energy than I am. I had made these movies that Michael Moore had seen, and with small enough crews that I was, I guess, not able to alienate them. As you know, on this job, I think I was a little bit more cranky, and Jason was a more kind of positive, upbeat force for the crew. And I think that was like
I could sense that the crew, which now that we're done shooting, consisted of a bunch of babies and assholes, and I feel like, but I could sense that they needed it. They needed like a leader, you know, or some kind of a cheerleader, a spirit coach, or something. And you know, Bob was obviously directing, and so I could see these little, you know, these heads. They needed someone, and I pretended to be that person.
I think it's an excellent question. I could talk for days about it, but I remember getting to set. It was like this 15th or 16th day, and there was people throwing a football around, and I remember thinking, I don't want people to be having a good time throwing a football around on this set. It just flashed in my head as like an impulse, and then later you think about it, and you're like, that's weird. Like, why would you think that? Like, what type of state of mind would you be in that you're thinking, I don't want these people to be having a good time? Because we weren't working and everything was ready to go. These people work really hard and all they're doing is tossing a football. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. And I said that to them. I actually said, put the football down. And I meant it. Like, I don't want to see a goddamn football. Get to work. And I'm like, well, there's nothing to do, and you're late. And and I'm like, that's irrelevant.
Well, on those words to live by, put the football down. We have to stop the interview and put the mics down, but we're talking with actor Jason Schwartzman and director Bob Byington about their film Seven Chinese Brothers. Thanks, guys. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, this is fun. Thank you.
Great. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Seven Chinese brothers swallowing the ocean. 7,000 years to calm united reign.
Seven Chinese Brothers opens this August nationwide. So mark those calendars, would ya? Time now for a tantalizingly taut intermission break and a Stephen Johett Hollywood story in that order. And when we come back, it'll be Screen Scene movie reviews with Peter Canavese. Hey, whose show is this anyway? Plus, a visit from the writer-director of I'll See You in My Dreams, Mr. Brett Haley.